Hey there, everybody. I just wanted to do this quick video for you guys. And this, is definitely something that's been on my heart for a while just to share. And after having another mentoring session with somebody who I've rehired, um, I'll just give you a bit of background first. 3 years ago, I was recommended to hire a coach, and he was probably my third or fourth coach at the time that I had hired. I have had about 3 to 5 coaches in the past 6.5 years, some of which all of which I've hired multiple times. And I have to say that every single coach has been very unique in their way of doing coaching and mentoring. And sometimes in the past, I haven't really been ready for the lessons that I was being given. So what happened for me recently was a few months ago, I realized that one of the coaches that I had hired 3 years ago, I actually was starting to really understand his teachings. And the guidance that he provided to me back then was more of a gift 3 years later than it was the day that I actually got the coaching and support. So I reached out to him and I thanked him, even though it was 3 years later. And I just said, I now understand what you were teaching me. And his name is Bill Mayer. And I just want to share with you guys, in case you haven't heard about him yet, he has offered to do a call for our Leading with Love group. And I'm just so grateful because this is a gift that he wants to give to us. He said that this is his birthday month, March, and his gift would be to give us a 30-minute call. And I know that he's going to give us some really valuable information, but what I wanted to share was what I've actually learned from him 3 years after my coaching sessions and why I rehired him to be my mentor and coach now. Now, some of you have heard that I've got multiple coaches, and I do. I believe that investing in that kind of growth for myself has been instrumental in where I am today and where I've come from and where I'm going. So without the support and guidance of each mentor that I have in my life for different reasons, I can't say that I'd be where I am today. So what Bill really focuses on with us when he does his coaching is creating a value-based day. Now, what I realized recently was that the reasons why I was struggling so much, for those of you who have followed my story and maybe know my history of my burnout last fall in 2015, I realized that I was living in this place of doing things that I believed that I had to do, in becoming the person I thought I had to become, rather than doing what was right for me at the time. I put so much pressure on myself, and I know that I speak for many of us when I say that. We are usually our own worst enemies, where we put so much pressure on ourselves, and we should all over ourselves. And I say that lightly, we should all over ourselves, because we feel that in order to be successful and fulfilled, we need to do the things we're told that we should do. And something that I found out probably all in the right time, and I have to admit to you that some of the struggles I went through were truly there because they were there to teach me lessons. They were there to help me become kinder to myself, more compassionate to myself, so that I could actually be kinder and compassionate towards others. And that whole gentle approach with myself has given me a feeling of ease, a feeling of, I really can do this, because the way I was doing it for 6.5 years or 6 years or however many years it was that I was living in struggle, I was living in go, 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 I was living in push comes to shove, just do it anyway, whatever it takes. That was the mentality that I had. That was the mindset that I was pouring into myself, that suck it up and keep moving. Don't question it, just do it. And what was happening was I wasn't living based on my values. And I had no idea, even though I had the coaching with Bill. It finally came to me one day where I went, oh my goodness, no wonder I'm struggling so much. I have not even considered the coaching that I had 3 years ago in 2013. I have not even looked at that since. And when I opened that binder to see what I wrote back then, it all made so much sense. So I just want to share with you a few things about the values-based day. And really, I'm not going to give it all away because some of this might be stuff that Bill will share with us when he gets on the call with us. But to get you excited about it, it really does come from those core values. And some of you are already doing this, subconsciously or consciously. You make decisions based on what your highest values are. And when we prioritize our values, and we follow our guide system or our GPS or our internal moral compass, whatever it is, when we are guided by those values, decisions become really, really, really clear. And when we get asked to do so many things, or we get, those expectations put on us, it's much easier to say no when we understand what our values are. Because we can say yes to everything and feel completely overwhelmed and wonder why the heck we're feeling burnt out and feel like we want to just quit or run away or hide, because that's where I was at. So what Bill really talks about is your book of being. So we all know how to do this business, right? We have skills, we practice, we continue to eat the most amazing nutrition, we help other people, we support them, we guide them, we coach them. But what often happens is we know how to do, but we don't always know how to be. And ironically, a year and a bit ago, when I went to a leadership weekend in Barrie with some great coaches and mentors, I was breaking through another board. And I've broken through a few boards before, but this one, for some reason, was so hard to break through. I have never struggled as much as I did that day. I almost quit. I almost gave up breaking through that board. And if you know what I mean, it's like a piece of, I think it's pine, I don't even know. And you're breaking through, it's not an inch, but one person's holding it on each side, and you basically put your hand right through it. But in order to do that, they ask you to write on both sides. And I really wish I had it with me right now, but I don't, because I just literally came and sat down and did what was on my heart to say right now, and I didn't prepare this. But on that board that day, I remember writing be, like BE. I was so afraid to be the person that I knew I was meant to be, that I believe that that's what made me really struggle to push through. And I felt like I almost broke my hand. I actually had a really, really massive bruise on the palm of my hand for days because it took me so long to break through that thing. And there was something so deep in my consciousness, I guess my subconscious mind, that knew that I was able to become the person that I was meant to be. But I was so afraid of what that was because I didn't even know what that was. But that was my goal. I wanted to become the person I was meant to be. And I did break through that, even though it took a long time. And I'm only finally coming to this place of recognizing that I was so good at doing, but I forgot about who I was trying to become. And I started going off the wrong way of becoming someone I wasn't. And that's when I started to feel out of alignment, where I felt icky, where I felt bad. And Bill just said to me today on my call, it really is as simple as, if you feel good, it's right. If you feel bad, it's likely not right. So whatever that is, right now, if you're feeling like something is really good, then go with it. Be okay with that. If something's just not feeling right, it's probably not. But we don't listen to our own intuition. We don't listen to those gut feelings of good versus bad. So with this values-based living, day to day, it's amazing how much more awareness we bring into our day to understand that we can actually feel good most, if not all times. And when we get to that place of feeling good all the time, we know we are living based on our values, and we're not letting anything sidetrack us. So I'll share with you right now my top 9 values, and he talks about 9 values being your top. And now when I make a decision, I reference my list of my top values, and they're not in any particular order. They just are all equal in my priorities. And I'm not going to dig too deep into how this works because I'm hoping to share this book of being with you in a different way if Bill doesn't do that. So at this point, my highest values are vibrant health. I'm going to make decisions based on my vibrant health goals. And yes, do I self-sabotage myself? Absolutely I do. Do I eat junk food? I do. Do I forget to get enough water in the day? Yes. Do I not I don't get enough exercise. I know that I don't get enough exercise. So those are all parts of my consciousness trying to rise to a new level so that I can put vibrant health as a priority and a value. And sometimes that does mean scheduling it in. So I'm starting to schedule in my health care, my wellness needs, but there's still lots of improvement to be had. Another one is family focus. There's so many times that weeks can go by without really feeling like I've got that really quality time with family. And having 3 kids and a working husband, it can be challenging to fit it all in, but this is one of my values that I am focusing on. So I make decisions based on vibrant health and family focus. Another one is spiritual connection. I'm someone who has not one religious bone in my body. I believe in universal laws or whatever theories. I really don't know, but I do believe that there is a higher power somewhere, somehow, that's helping guide us in some ways. Now, I do take responsibility for my actions. I don't feel like some universal law is pushing me to do things, but at times maybe there is something about that. So I'm still really growing in my spiritual journey. And that has become one of my top 9 values. Ironically, many of these values were the same 9 years ago, but some of them are different, or some of them have now bumped into being equally important, where before I had like spiritual connection as number 9 just because I needed a 9th. I really didn't understand my place in the spiritual world, but I'm starting to really get clearer on the fact that I am a spiritual being in a human body. Another one is personal growth. I have such respect for personal growth. And until I joined this business, I always wanted to be a professional student, but I didn't understand the personal growth side of things. I always loved learning, but to be able to grow as a person and help others do the same has been the biggest gift I can say that I've received in this journey so far. Creatively making a difference and contribution. I love contributing to a bigger picture. I know that it's not just my 4 walls, it's not just me and my family. It is about creating such incredible gifts and things for the world. So we have so much to offer, and that doesn't need to be always monetary. It can be our energy, it can be our smile, it can be our voice, it can be eye contact with others. I think so many times we think that contribution is huge and it has to be money, it has to be donations. It's not always about that, but we all have something unique inside us that we can really share with the world at a small pace or a fast pace. Love and respectful relationships. This is something that I actually did as far as starting with myself, because I recognized that I wasn't loving and respecting myself, which is why I allowed myself to get into a place of struggle. And not to say it will never happen again, because we can easily lose focus. But starting with loving and respecting myself, I know that I am no longer needing the permission, approval, or acceptance of others. I also know that I do not deserve to compare myself with anybody but myself. So I always say to my children, and we say it together every day, that every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. And that does not mean that I'm getting better than anyone else, but I am getting better than I was yesterday. And my kids know that too. They understand that they are not better than anyone else. They are just better than they were yesterday. And that's such a gift to love, honor, and appreciate ourselves for who we are, and really start with self-respect and self-love so that we can really respect and love others. Fun, joy, and laughter. This is one that I'd have to say is probably needed the most for shifting my own person, because, sorry, I'm just looking at the clock because I have to get my kids off the bus in a minute. But the thing that I love so much about this one is that I've been a serious mom. I've been a serious business partner. I've been a serious daughter, a serious wife, a serious friend. I have no siblings, so I can't say that I'm a serious sibling, but what I realize is I don't have enough fun. I don't laugh enough. And there is this inner child in me that wants to come out and play. And so many of us are hiding that child within us because we're so afraid to have fun and to just have joy and laughter. And I know myself that when I actually do let myself get to that place of laughter, it just fills me up so much, but I don't do it enough. So that's something that I intend to continue really incorporating into my daily values. Time and financial freedom. This used to be number one on my list, and now I say it's equal with everything, but it was such a priority to me, and it's no wonder I burnt myself out, because I had the mindset of go, go, go. At whatever cost it is, I'm going to become time free and financial free. Time freedom and financial freedom. I was going to achieve those things. And I can say now that I have done that, but I didn't like the process it took me to get there. I'd have to say, if I were to do it over again, and I'm certainly not downplaying the effectiveness of taking the action and really working my butt off, but I realize at the same time that I've probably burned some bridges. I've likely negatively impacted some friendships, and that's not something I'm proud of. So I recognize that my place in the journey was about go all in at whatever expense, and I'm grateful that I have not lost my family, or, and hopefully I can regain some of those friendships that I have lost along the way, but it takes me showing up, admitting my faults, and really apologizing to those people who I may have offended or may have put business above friendships. And that was the reality of it. And I see people doing it all the time. And some people look at it as, well, if that friend doesn't understand, then okay, wipe your hands of them, and they aren't really that important in your life anyway if they can't support you where you're at. And now my feeling is, those people might not have been supportive, but they didn't understand what I was doing. So why is it my position to just totally disregard their protection or their skepticism? That's their stuff to deal with. That's not mine. But why do I judge that? And why would I say, well, they're not a real friend if they don't support where I'm at? I think I really learned the hard way that we can't always act in a way that people want us to. I was coachable, and I took it seriously to be coachable, but time and financial freedom is important, but not at all costs. I realize that now. I'm not willing to burn myself out again, and I'm not willing to help another person get there if it means they're going to burn themselves out and lose friendships and families. It really has to be in alignment with the person. And the very last one is neat and orderly. And this is one that I need a lot of help in. I will admit, if you were to see everything in this office right now on the floors and on the desks, you'd see that I am not very neat and orderly. My whole house, it looks lived in, but there's a lot of clutter. And that's one of the things that I am willing to release, because I know that with that release, I will free up more energy in my home for that abundance mindset rather than scarcity. And I do believe that when we hoard and clutter our space, we're actually living in scarcity, because it's like, oh, I don't want to let anything go because I'm afraid it will never come back, or it will not regrow, or, we get so attached to those material things that our energy is actually sucked into that. And it's really unfortunate, because I know that by just giving more freely, letting go of things that are no longer serving us in our family, things that no longer bring us joy, that's okay to let go of. So there's a lot of great things on this list, and maybe those values would be your values too, but I'm sure that you all have something that's slightly different. But the really cool thing about leading with love is that when we live a values-based day, we are living with love. We are filling our tank. We are allowing what we truly value to come first and center. And anything else is a bonus, anything else is extra. But without feeling guilty for saying no for the things that don't fit into our values, I think it's really important to give ourselves a pat on the back to say, hey, you know what? I now know what I align with, and I am willing and capable of really designing the day that I want, the day that I wish for. And some people are working full-time jobs and you're feeling so tired, so beaten, so down. But remember that this is temporary. If you want it to be temporary, it can be temporary. I'm not saying to burn yourself out at both ends to make that time and financial freedom a factor, but if that is one of your values, then every single day we can do little things along the way to make that happen, even if it takes longer than the average person. That is okay. There is no race, there is no timeline, but what matters most is that you are living a joyful, purposeful, and fulfilled life. And that does not equal belongings, money. That doesn't mean materialistic things. That just means how you feel inside yourself, fulfilled and joyful. And really that's coming from that love and living your life in your values. So with that, guys, sorry this was a little longer than I hoped, but you know me, I like to just get it out there from my heart without being scripted. So if you like what you're hearing right now, I look forward to telling you about our next call with our next guest speaker, Bill Mayer. And if you would like to know more about him, I can't wait to share with you what I know about him when I introduce him on our call, hopefully in March. If not March, April, but it will probably be March. So stay tuned. Take care, guys.